A black woman was instructed to take off her uniform, and then she appeared flying in an F-22 Raptor over the camp. Take off that pilot costume right now. Girl, you don't belong here. Colonel Marcus Whitfield's words echoed through the hangar like a gunshot, causing 150 military personnel to turn and watch. Maya Johnson, 28, stood motionless before her superior, her hands trembling not from fear but from a controlled rage that boiled like lava about to erupt. The Air Force uniform she had worn with pride for 6 years suddenly felt like concrete on her shoulders. Every metal on her chest seemed to burn her skin as looks of disdain pierced her soul. "Colonel, with all due respect, my performance on recent missions," she began, but Whitfield cut her off with a cruel laugh. "Performance? You flew a few hours in a simulator and think that makes you a fighter pilot? This diversity program has gone too far. We're talking about $150 million worth of military equipment, not toys." Her humiliation had begun 3 months earlier when she was transferred to Langley under the guise of integrating emerging talent. In truth, she knew she was being used as a propaganda piece, the photogenic young black woman the Air Force could showcase in recruitment campaigns. What no one knew was that Maya Johnson wasn't just another pilot. Brad Sullivan, son of Senator Sullivan and heir to a pharmaceutical fortune, had set the tone from day one. "Look, everyone, our new diversity quota has arrived," he'd whispered during the first briefing, loud enough for her to hear. Some laughed, others looked away, too weak to protest. Over the following weeks, Maya quietly documented every comment, racial joke, and act of sabotage. Her flight equipment mysteriously malfunctioned before missions. Reports vanished from the system, and requests for flight time were denied without explanation. "You know what the problem is with you people?" Whitfield sneered. "You think you deserve something special? That the rules don't apply to you? That you can take the place of truly qualified pilots just because it's politically correct?" Maya closed her eyes for a moment, remembering the promise she had made to her younger brother before his last mission 2 years ago. "When I get back, Maya, I'll tell you about places you never imagined," he had said. He never returned, and officially, his mission never happened. "I said take off your uniform now." Whitfield's voice rose, and Maya realized she had no choice. The circle around her grew tighter. Some filmed with phones. Others looked away. Slowly, she began to remove her insignia. The medals earned on missions that officially never existed. A Bronze Star for valor, an Air Medal for 25 combat missions, and the Elite Pilot badge held by only 200 people alive. Each piece that hit the concrete sounded like judgment. Brad Sullivan filmed, smirking. "Finally, someone had the courage to speak the truth," he muttered. "Black women in command of F-22s, what a joke." None noticed the faint smile Maya suppressed as her fingers touched one last medal, small, unmarked, and awarded by General Morrison after a mission requiring presidential authorization. She held it a moment longer before placing it down. Folding her uniform neatly, Maya rose and looked Whitfield in the eye with calm precision. "Colonel," she said, her voice steady, "thank you for showing me exactly who you are, and for reminding me exactly who I am." Her footsteps echoed as she walked out, silence filling the hangar. No one knew they had just witnessed one of Langley's greatest injustices. In her pocket, her phone vibrated with a message from an untraceable number. "Package delivered. Authorization confirmed. 72 hours." None of them knew Maya Johnson carried secrets buried deeper than the Pentagon itself. When someone with her training is humiliated, the response comes from the skies few humans ever reach. Her calm had guarded a secret too powerful to reveal before the right time. That humiliation had just triggered protocols that would soon teach the Air Force a lesson in power no manual ever recorded. The next 48 hours were a masterclass in revenge. The video of her dismissal spread like wildfire through military networks, captioned, "Diversity Pilot Finally Discovered," courtesy of Brad Sullivan. Maya drove her old Honda Civic to her small off-base apartment, where she had lived in peace for 2 years. Her neighbors knew her only as the quiet veteran who worked on aircraft maintenance, a half-truth that kept her close to what she loved. On the phone, her mother wept. "Honey, I saw the video. How could they treat you like that?" Dorothy Johnson had raised 3 children alone in Detroit, working 2 jobs so Maya could study advanced math. She always knew her daughter was special, just never how special. "Mom, it's okay," Maya said softly. "This will pass." Maya lied, watching through the window as a black car with government plates parked discreetly on the corner for 2 hours. Some secrets were too heavy to share even with those you love most. Meanwhile, at Langley Base, Colonel Whitfield celebrated as if he had just won a war. "Did you see how quiet she was? They knew exactly where she stood," he boasted to a group of officers in the club. "This inclusion program is a joke. It always has been." Brad Sullivan, still thrilled by the likes on his viral video, decided one humiliation wasn't enough. He created an Instagram group called Real Military Pilots and posted a photo of the cafeteria table where Maya used to sit, captioned, "Finally, we can eat in peace without diversity quotas." What none of them knew was that every post, comment, and arrogant laugh was being carefully documented by someone who understood the difference between anecdotal evidence and legal proof. Maya had learned through years of classified operations that patience wasn't weakness, it was the deadliest weapon. On Thursday night, she drove to a secluded Denny's on the highway, where a 60-year-old man with gray hair waited in a back booth. General Robert Morrison wasn't in uniform, but his military bearing was unmistakable. "I'm sorry about all this, Maya. If I could have prevented it," he began, but she stopped him with a gesture. "General, you once told me that sometimes we must let the enemy expose himself before we strike. Whitfield just did that." She slid a folder across the table. 3 years of evidence, systematic discrimination, equipment sabotage, falsified reports not just against her but against 17 other minority service members. Morrison opened the folder, eyes widening. "Jesus Christ, Maya, how did you get all this?" "You trained me well, General. Always document everything. Always have a plan B, always think 3 moves ahead." She smiled faintly. "And always keep your best cards hidden until the right moment." Morrison studied her face. "What do you need from me?" "Authorization for a demonstration that shows exactly who I am, something they can't deny, distort, or bury. And I want it public for the entire Air Force to see." "Maya, you realize this will expose everything. Your classified missions, your real rank, your past operations. You'll never live a normal life again." "General, for 2 years I've pretended to be normal. I worked, came home, watched TV, and you know what I learned? Normal is overrated, especially when men like Whitfield use normal to justify prejudice." Morrison nodded slowly. 48 hours. I'll get presidential clearance for a technical demonstration of advanced aerial capabilities. Officially, it'll be a test of new flight protocols. Unofficially, he smiled, it'll be the end of the careers of everyone who underestimated my Ghost Johnson. By Friday morning, Brad Sullivan posted another video on TikTok, mocking Maya's voice. "With all due respect, Colonel, my performance," followed by exaggerated laughter. It got 50,000 views in 2 hours. Maya watched from her apartment, sipping coffee, taking notes in a military notebook. Every view, every cruel laugh, every toxic comment built her legal defense, and something more powerful, moral justification for what she was about to do. Her phone vibrated with a message from a restricted number. Authorization granted. Demonstration scheduled for Monday, 0800 hours. Hangar 7. All base personnel will attend. Maya smiled, remembering what her flight instructor had told her 15 years earlier. When you are absolutely certain of your superiority, you don't need to shout to be heard, you just need to fly. Each new humiliation only strengthened her. The privileged men at Langley didn't realize that every insult was writing their own sentence of defeat. Monday would be the day every score was settled in a way no military manual had ever recorded. Over the weekend, while Brad Sullivan mocked quota pilots online, Maya was 400 kilometers away at a base that didn't exist on any map. The real secret of Area 51 wasn't aliens. It was the underground hangar where she inspected the most advanced F-22 Raptor ever built. "Are you sure about this, Maya?" asked Captain Rodriguez, the only technician authorized to prepare the jet. "Once you take off live on camera, there's no turning back. Your classified identity will be public." Maya ran her hand along the cold metal. Tony, for 2 years I've been pretending to be just a mechanic. I worked on commercial planes, came home, watched Netflix. But you know what I've learned about normal? It's overrated. What no one at Langley knew was that Maya Ghost Johnson wasn't just a pilot. She was the only person alive approved to fly prototypes costing more than the GDP of some nations. Her classified license covered aircraft that most people thought existed only in science fiction. Meanwhile, Whitfield spent the weekend spreading the story of the token pilot. "You have to see this," he told fellow officers, showing the video. "This is what happens when diversity policies go too far. It's a disgrace." Brad Sullivan turned it into a personal crusade, launching a hashtag, Real Pilots Only, that went viral in military circles. "Excellence has no color," he wrote, "but incompetence definitely does." What he didn't know was that every post and smirk was being archived by Pentagon lawyers. Maya knew patience wasn't passivity. It was ammunition waiting for the right moment. On Monday morning, an urgent summons was sent to all Langley personnel. Mandatory demonstration of new flight technologies. Hangar 7, 800 hours. Full dress uniform. Whitfield frowned. "What demonstration? No one told me about this." His assistant shrugged, confused. Brad Sullivan took the chance to post again. "I bet they're bringing in some woman pilot to show how inclusive they are." What a circus. Within an hour, his post had 200 likes. At 7:45 a.m., Maya parked her Honda Civic in the base parking lot for the last time. On the passenger seat was a folder containing her real military ID, not the sanitized version she used as a mechanic, but the original with mission stamps that would give intelligence analysts sleepless nights. She walked toward Hangar 7, where 300 military personnel were already gathered, curious about the mysterious demonstration. Colonel Whitfield stood at the front, clearly irritated that he hadn't been informed in advance. Brad Sullivan was nearby, filming everything on his phone, eager for more viral material. "Attention!" shouted a sergeant. "Report to General Morrison." Instantly, the murmuring stopped. General Robert Morrison was a legend. 3 wars, 2 presidential decorations, and a reputation for never wasting time. His presence meant something extraordinary was about to unfold. "Military personnel!" His commanding voice filled the hangar. "Today you will witness a demonstration of air capabilities that will redefine your concept of operational excellence." His eyes briefly met Maya's in the crowd. "Prepare to meet one of the greatest legends in American military aviation." Whitfield leaned toward a colleague and whispered, "Must be some veteran Top Gun pilot." Finally, a real example of competence. Brad zoomed in, anticipating another viral moment. Suddenly, the roar of turbines shattered the morning air. The sound was sharper, more powerful than anything they had heard before. Through the massive hangar doors, a sleek silhouette sliced across the blue sky, an F-22 Raptor in demonstration configuration, flying just 200 feet above the ground. Its futuristic lines gleamed in the sunlight, but it wasn't the jet that froze the crowd in awe, it was the flight itself. Every move was executed with impossible precision. A perfect balance of grace and control that made physics seem like choreography. "My God," someone whispered. "Who the hell is flying that thing?" Maya smiled discreetly, watching the faces around her change from casual curiosity to reverent disbelief. The F-22 performed a series of breathtaking maneuvers, impossibly tight rolls, gravity-defying turns, seamless transitions that left even veteran pilots speechless. Every movement reflected not only technical mastery, but an intuitive connection between pilot and machine. Brad's phone shook in his hand. Whitfield struggled to maintain composure, his eyes betraying amazement and growing unease. Then a voice crackled over the loudspeakers. "Traffic control to Ghost 0. Request permission to land and report in." Maya closed her eyes, savoring the irony. In moments, the very people who had mocked her would realize they had spent weeks humiliating one of the most decorated pilots in Air Force history. The F-22 descended and touched down with flawless precision, taxiing to a stop before the silent crowd. When the cockpit opened and the pilot removed their helmet, black hair spilled over the shoulders. Brad Sullivan's phone slipped from his trembling hand. No, it can't be, he whispered. Maya Johnson stepped forward, walking toward the microphone, her boots striking the hangar floor like drum beats of justice. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Maya Ghost Johnson, she said clearly. For the past 2 years, I have been pretending to be a mechanic to observe how you treat those you consider inferior. Her eyes locked on Whitfield. The results have been educational. General Morrison stepped forward. For those who don't know, Lieutenant Colonel Johnson is the only pilot in history to have shot down 6 enemy aircraft in live combat. She holds 47 decorations, including 2 classified Silver Stars. Whitfield's face drained of color. That's impossible, he stammered. She was just a quota mechanic. Maya gestured toward a screen descending from the ceiling. Over the past 3 months, I've systematically documented every act of discrimination. Images appeared. Brad Sullivan posting his viral video, mocking messages, Whitfield laughing with other officers. But that's only the beginning, she continued. Colonel Whitfield, you sabotaged the careers of 23 minority service members. You falsified reports, manipulated evaluations, and even altered medical records to force the retirement of a Latino pilot who outperformed your protégés. Brad tried to step back, but Maya turned her gaze on him. Mr. Sullivan, you created hashtags like Real Pilots Only and posted 47 videos mocking women and minorities. Your content reached over 200,000 viewers. Congratulations, you're officially a public figure. His voice quivered. I was just joking. I didn't mean... Maya let out a short, humorless laugh. I have 200 pages of documented evidence. Systematic discrimination, hostile environment, defamation, cyberbullying, misuse of military resources. General Morrison took the microphone again, his tone firm and cold. Colonel Whitfield, you are charged with misconduct, abuse of authority, and violation of military ethics. You are hereby relieved of command, effective immediately. The hangar erupted into murmurs of disbelief. Whitfield stood frozen, his career collapsing in front of hundreds of witnesses. Meanwhile, Maya stood tall under the harsh fluorescent lights, calm and unshaken. The woman they had tried to humiliate had just rewritten history, not with vengeance, but with undeniable proof and flawless precision.